Welcome to Detective Diaries, brought to you by Private Detectives Answers Investigation. If you're captivated by the art of deduction, the thrill of solving the unsolvable, or the enigmatic world of private investigation, you have just found your new favourite podcast. Detective Diaries are where secrets are unravelled and the truth is always a clue away. Presented by Private Detective Answers Investigation. Each episode contains offbeat conversations about the real people involved in investigation.
Here we are again. Welcome to another episode of Detective Diaries. Today I'm excited to shine a spotlight on Generation Next. That's Generation Next, not X. This dynamic initiative within the Surrey business community is all about empowering the next wave of professionals. I have the pleasure today to be joined by two of the main driving forces behind this fantastic initiative, being Neva and Georgia, who will be sharing more on this very, very shortly. Has this got anything to do with being a detective? Well, actually it does, because being involved in this industry means more than just being a detective. It involves being in business. And as with any other business, there's the need to network, to build connections, and then engage with other like-minded groups and individuals. Naturally, as a business, we're heavily involved with the Regional Chamber of Commerce, Surrey in this instance. And a few months ago, I had the pleasure of being invited to sit on the advisory board for Generation Next. Generation Next was born from a simple observation. The leap from education into the workplace isn't always that smooth. Many young people find themselves brimming with ambition, but lack the direction, guidance, or networks to help them turn that potential into momentum. That's where Generation Next comes in. From me, I only wish that an initiative like this existed when I first started out in my career, as the world at the time can be quite overwhelming in the world of business. So if you're aged 18 to 35, or if you're a business leader investing in younger talent, this episode is for you. Neve, Georgia, pleasure to have you both with me today. I mean, if I could just start, obviously briefly touched upon what Generation Next is, but can you just expand a little bit more, perhaps where the inspiration came from?
I believe that the inspiration for Generation Next really stemmed from when I first came into the role as the events and marketing manager at Surrey Chambers. I was looking around and I wasn't really seeing many people in the age bracket of the 18 to 35 attending our events. So it was actually my manager that came and stemmed the idea of making it an initiative. Originally, we had events that were for young professionals, but they didn't really have that much pickup. We were maybe getting 16 people come along, but the people that did come along were having a great time. So I thought to stem it to a whole initiative to cover all different areas and aspects. There's other chambers throughout the country that have their same sort of Generation Next, but I wanted to really create something that was our own. So I took from stuff that has happened in my life, and I know that when I changed direction with my career, going from biology into events, I didn't have much support from family members, or I didn't have any mentors in my life, and I really felt like I was out on my own. So I wanted to build something that built a structure around anyone maybe going through the same sort of thing, while also making it fun and light and taking something from what I'd enjoy, going to networking events, making it less corporate and more fun and activity based. And I feel like that's kind of where generations stem from for me.
So it's quite personal then in that respect. You know, you're incorporating a lot of things that you've experienced and gone through to bring it to the point it is now.
Yeah, definitely. I think I had a lot of free reign of when creating Generation Next, of just why don't you do something and create an initiative called Generation Next, and then it was my job to go away and build that to whatever it needed or what I wanted it to be. So for it to really be impactful or make sense, I felt like I had to kind of really reach and think about what I would have wanted and would benefit from, and then also seeing the benefits from just the small things that myself and Georgia have done already for the young professionals so far.
That's brilliant. Georgia, is it kind of a similar story, would you say?
Yeah, I would say so. I think similar to what Neve was saying, we recognise that whilst Surrey has a strong business community, there wasn't really a dedicated space for young professionals to connect, learn and grow. And it's then a platform designed by young professionals for young professionals. So a bit like Neve was saying, events that we would actually want to go to. And I think for me, I have voluntarily mentored 16-year-olds. So even though it's a little bit younger, something that I've picked up on is when we're doing CV writing and interview skills, techniques and things like that, they wouldn't understand that teamwork, problem solving, all of those skills are employability skills. So it was kind of, an eye-opening experience being a mentor, because then now we create workshops that help young professionals develop on those skills, because that's what employers are looking for. So that's kind of my inspiration behind it.
Brilliant. Well, what I really like about this is, well, I needed to kind of mention about how a lot of Surrey Chambers, or some Surrey Chambers and different Chambers of Commerce have looked at this kind of idea before. As far as I'm concerned, from what I've seen and certainly getting involved in the hands-on experience of it, it's brilliant. I've never seen more young people take up an opportunity like this than ever before. So a lot of the times it's perhaps behind the scenes, you don't necessarily see it, but a lot of communities and people that I'm speaking to have got absolutely everything to rave about this for. What are the sort of key objectives then? If you take that kind of statement, if you're looking at Generation Next for younger people, what's that key objective to you, would you say?
I would say that we kind of based it around 3 pillars, which were connect, so building strong network. This is through like networking events and online communities, and to support. So this is through our advisory board, like yourself, Georgia, and also just to have a stable network that goes throughout all of your career. So if you change jobs, they're still there no matter what. And then to develop is the last one. So through workshops, through leadership or skills, and that could be online or in person as well. So it's hopefully covering those all areas that will strengthen the career, really.
No, I know that it kind of what you were saying at the start actually is about certain events where young people might feel a little bit isolated or perhaps out of their depth because they're dealing with someone who's got a plethora more years experience or working in the industry that they have, and yet they clearly have something to offer to the table. It's just getting that voice out there. So I've certainly seen that the objectives in terms of these events that you hold are really striking true to allowing people to speak to each other, in a very open environment. So how do sort of people join and get involved? If you can sort of drop in on that.
Yeah, so it's open to anyone in the early stages of their career, so typically aged 18 to early 30s, but we don't have hard cut-offs. It's mainly about if you're someone who wants to grow, learn and be a part of the community, then you're welcome. People can join directly as individuals or through their employer, so that's something to note as well. So if you are a member of Surrey Chambers of Commerce, then your young professionals are automatically enrolled into Generation Next. And yeah, it's really inclusive. We just want to bring a wide range of industries and backgrounds.
So if I'm 36 and I'm wandering in, I'm not going to get turned away and be called Generation Old, am I?
No, of course not. We have had people come to our events that are 35 and they sort of question, they're like, am I okay to be here? And we say to them, as long as you want to be here, you want to build on confidence, because that's another thing. And they feel that they're in a safe environment because everyone's learning together. So yeah, we welcome everyone. Yeah, even Nigel can come along.
No, I've known it to always be open doors, so that is brilliant. So I mean, again, I have the benefit here, unlike our listeners, of actually being involved in this hands-on. And we went a few weeks ago to the Oakwood Adventure Centre, and Isha, what a wonderful day that was. Everyone getting involved on the high ropes and some laser tag. I think a few of the laser tag people probably thought they were in the latest edition of Battlefield or something, but there we are. But no, what a wonderful day that was. Getting people perhaps out of their comfort zones, doing things that they didn't want to do, especially being blindfolded and walking across high ropes. I can tell you now, I didn't want to do that, but it was excellent. And it was really good time for everyone just to open up and do things that they haven't done before. Where does that kind of event fit in with the kind of main services and things you're trying to provide? Is it going to be geared towards that kind of events, or what are you looking at here when you're trying to put these things out to younger people?
I would say that we tailor events towards what we know that bodes well to people of that age group. We really find that sometimes they get a bad rap, but realistically, one thing we found is that they actually do show up on time. They're less likely to no-show, but they do better with activities, icebreakers, things that kind of breaks that ice and gets them to relax, whereas some people might just be happy just getting put in a room and they work the room, network and stuff, but I think that's kind of aging out a little bit, and it is more about time is precious to people, and I think people prefer to be doing something that they enjoy than just going in and trying to get as many connections as possible. And although some people might be owning their own business at that age and knowing who their clientele is, some people might be trying to build those soft skills, and speaking to people and networking is just completely new to them. So it's just feeling relaxed and feeling like, yeah, they can have fun with it. So I think when we have events, I think it will be based around sometimes activities. Sometimes it's going to be workshops and skill based. So we've got one coming up. Yeah, and that's kind of at a food court. So half of it's going to be around networking before, and there's like games to play and things before getting into the leadership side of things, the workshop side of things. So yeah, I think that's one of the events. Is that? I don't know if that answered the question.
I think as well, it's, you touched on it, but about the soft skills. So the Oakwood, for example, you know, the teamwork, the problem solving, it was really nice because at the start of the event, everyone kind of came in and they were all in their little groups, you know, with their other colleagues. And then we split them up, and they're then with people that they've never spoke to before. And then at laser tag, we were coming back, and one of the girls came over to me and said, "Oh, I didn't know this person at the beginning, now we're talking." And it's just nice. And I think for employers, it's knowing that, yeah, they're sending their employees to these events, but they're coming back with new skills. So it's good for them.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is anybody there?
I'm Harry Watts. I'm an audio technician and a private investigator. Hear me on Detective Diaries, telling you about enhancing poor quality audio recordings to make them clear and audible. I think this is something that perhaps some younger people may miss. Obviously, it is geared towards them as Generation Next, but there is this basis of employers as well, isn't there, in terms of getting your employees leveled up, skilled up, or doing things that they haven't done before. Again, some new employees might not have networked before, so I can imagine that's really helpful to sort of get them involved. But what would you say then, perhaps? Is it those the events that makes this different from other groups, or are there other elements here which would be particular to Generation Next?
I think the fact, obviously, we have also the mentorship opportunities, like Neve was saying earlier about the advisory board. So yeah, we've got the networking events, but I feel like it's more of a balance of professional growth and social connection compared to the other events. And like I was saying earlier, for some of these young people, it's the first time that they've actually gone out to networking. So it's about it being a fun environment, but in a good way, rather than just putting them in a room and them feeling isolated. It's about building them for them next steps. So we've actually got 2 girls that used to come to our young professional events, and now they've been to a few and they've built their confidence up. We now see them at our normal networking events that has everyone else. So it's nice to just see that journey as well.
It must be really nice as well, because as you said, an example of the ladies who came to the Oakwood Day, seeing their relationship change and evolve, and how I'm sure in weeks, months to come, they're going to be talking about how they first met, and that was at the Oakwood. So that must give you, really nice feelings.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
no, it's really nice seeing those connections and things. And I was touching on like what George was saying with those events. I think something that's really special about Generation Next is that it's not to forget that it's also stemming off of Surrey Chambers. So we've got all the connections that Surrey Chambers has had from building up for years. So I think that really sometimes stems it apart, because although we're building our own little network and we're all peers, if it's to a matter of having introductions and meeting mentors and things that have been part of Surrey Chambers for years, then we've always got those connections as well. So I feel like Generation Next also opens up a lot more doors and opportunities that maybe a brand new network might not necessarily have access to yet, which is quite nice.
So clearly a lot of Generation Next has been inspired by perhaps what's had an impact on you, but what impacts have you seen that Generation Next is already having from perhaps people you've spoken to or people coming to you about this?
Yeah, the feedback so far has been really positive, and we've seen young professionals grow in confidence. I think my favourite so far is the communication and presentation workshop we did earlier this year with Fred Afrifa. So we actually sold out and then needed more spaces, and the goal of the workshop was for young professionals to grow in confidence when presenting or even communicating with people other than their peers. And when they first came in, I was registering them and I said, write on a post-it note a word that you associate with public speaking. And a lot of them were writing down nervous, anxious, scared. And then they did the workshop with Fred and he was amazing, and Neve and I were in it. And then I said at the end of the workshop, now write a word down that you associate with public speaking and communication. And the contrast between the walls, so there were more words like confident, positive, not so scared. So it's just seeing that, and then like I said earlier, knowing that their employers have sent their employees to this and they're now going back with new skills and feel more confident. So I feel like that was a really impactful one that we did earlier this year.
So just remind me though, because Fred, he was formerly on The Apprentice, is this
Yes,
right?
he was on this season and he was really impressive, and even I watched The Apprentice. And I was really impressed with him, the way he communicates, and even, like I said, Neve and I were at the back of the workshop, and just the way he presents, and the people that were there can really relate to him because, again, he's a young professional himself. And it's a good workshop.
So it's kind of a demonstration. You're not just getting anyone to talk about this. This is someone who's got that qualification and experience, and obviously it ties in with The Apprentice, so that's quite nice. The young people will have heard of that and seen that. But it's kind of a case to say you're being serious about this. You've got these people in who are of this professional caliber and who can help.
Yeah, I think that was our goal behind it.
So obviously this all sounds wonderful, this all sounds very smooth sailing, and someone could set this up tomorrow, but I'm sure that's not the case. There's got to be challenges when launching something like this. Tell me a bit about what you've experienced.
I would say, as an employer, I feel like if you even think about it now, I feel like there's a lot of discussion around Gen Zs, Gen X, millennials, and how everyone works, and it's all very different and what people are used to. And I feel like something like this is taking that pressure away from the employer meant to know what to do and what they need. We're bringing it to them. So employees, I think, benefit and appreciate going to networking events and upskilling in the right area, but also it yields better retention. But something that's different about Generation Next than like a normal networking group is that it's connected to the Surrey Chambers. So if you are a member of Surrey Chambers, so if the employer, for example, was looking for their own benefits, if they became a member of Surrey Chambers, then automatically anyone in that age bracket is also Generation Next and has all access. So they'll have all their own benefits from being a member of Surrey Chambers, from all of the business support, all the links, connections, introductions, we run 100 events a year for just the rest of the network. So the employers themselves will gain from that in themselves, but then also all of their staff will be able to have access to Generation Next. And I know even from myself, for being in a workplace where I have access to better myself and upskill, it does bring more retention. You want to stay at a place that you feel like that you're growing and you're growing your career and feeling secure. And then obviously sometimes the employers of Generation Next are in that age group. So this isn't just for people that are starting off their career or working for someone. It could be entrepreneurs and things themselves. So they'll have access to people that are doing the exact same thing and just taking themselves away from that isolation, because starting a business yourself or wanting to be in leadership can sometimes feel really isolating. So it's hopefully, taking that away.
No, I was just going to say employers benefit in a few ways. So first, like I said earlier, their staff will develop skills and confidence, which they then take back into the workplace. A second, Neve touched upon it, but it is a retention tool. I did see online, I'm not going to quote it because I can't remember where I saw it. I did see it, and it said younger employees are more likely to stay somewhere if they feel invested in and supported. And then finally, it's good for reputation because, you know, showing your business values the next generation of leaders, this can make you more attractive to future talent. So yeah, there were a few reasons.
It's quite interesting. I mean, I hear what you say about retention because I've certainly seen that in other industries, legal or law enforcement, in fact, as well. When you've got these people who are new, who are coming into something they know about, they may be qualified, they may be, you know, educationally trained in what they're looking at, but when they get in, they feel like they're just being left to their own devices, and it's okay, find your own way. Well, you know, that's fair enough if there is that kind of thing, but yeah, we all need a bit of guidance, don't we? So speaking of guidance, you mentioned about sort of an advisory board. What's that, and how's that work with Generation Next?
So our advisory board is a make-up of people in that are Generation Next who are excelling at their careers. So we have access to them through our website. You can read up on what everyone does, but it's to cover different industries and different areas. And anyone that's a part of Generation Next can contact them at any point through email and basically get put in touch in almost like a mentor system. So something that we're also talking about looking into next year is potentially having a month that each of the advisors cover around their skills. So we have people in marketing, we have Nazia who's like financial, we have yourself, Harry, and you really cover a lot of like, obviously you work in detective but also, and leadership, but also like that charismatic of public speaking is stuff you really cover as well. So I think the advisory board is really covering a large area, and it's that kind of, because they're all like peers as well, it's that safeness as well, being able to speak to people and yeah, be able to learn from them while they're going through it as well, really.
I mean, from my experience, it's really wonderful to give back and have those conversations with people who some I've even had over the years, and to now be in a position where you can kind of give back. I can't speak to it enough. It is wonderful, and it's a real privilege actually to do that. And yeah, one hopes is that we're going to get lots more people that we're going to be talking to and mentoring come 2025, throughout the end of 2025 and into 2026.
Questa è la storia di Giuseppe Dosi, un detective italiano dei primi del Novecento.
And in English translation, this is the story of Giuseppe Dosi, an Italian detective of the early 20th century. Here we relate the adventures of Signora Dosi on Detective Diaries.
I have to bring up this story. We've been chatting about it before. Obviously, as our listeners will know, we are a detective agency by trade, and I hear, Georgia, that you've been using your own skills in a roundabout way to deal with something. Do you want to share your story with the listeners?
Yep, I can do. So I received a follow request on Instagram from someone, and the bio was sort of like back on the gram and had the UK and the UAE flags. I thought, oh, maybe I've met him somewhere in Dubai, I'm not sure, but I accepted it anyway. And I think it was, I don't know, I remember showing Neve, I was like, oh, look at this guy. And then we thought he looked a bit dodge. Not to be judgmental, but his photos looked, well, we thought they were AI, didn't we?
Yeah, they were almost like too perfect, if that makes sense.
He was, well, we'll get on to that. But because it said back on the gram, naturally I just looked at who he was following, see if there was anyone I knew. And all of those accounts as well, they just looked a bit fake. So anyway, then one day he replied to one of my stories, and then we were chatting, and he started posting videos on his story instead of obviously the feed photo. So I thought, oh, maybe, okay, this guy's legit. Then he was in Dubai, and this is where Detective Georgia comes into full swing. So he was coming back from Dubai, and the first alarm, what was the first one? Oh, he said that he was flying with Emirates, and then he said, right, I'm getting on the flight, I've done my good deed of the day. I said, okay, what did you do? And he said, when I got on board, I said that I want to buy everyone's breakfast and drink. And I fly with Emirates when I go to Dubai, so I knew that was a lie because all of the food and everything's included on an Emirates flight. So I said, okay, but I didn't say anything because I thought, let's see how much he can lie. Then he texts me after 4 hours to say he's landed. I was like, okay, an average Dubai flight is 7 to 8 hours. So again, that's a lie. Didn't say anything. Then he was someone that he would send a lot of selfies and be like, oh, this was from Paris, this was from Switzerland. And again, it's just not normal. You don't do that. And then I went on one of the files. It was a video, so I click on it. And it said screen recording, like the original file. So I thought, okay, now detective mode. So then what happened? Then he said he has a twin sister, and this girl requested to follow me on Instagram. He was the only mutual, so I said, who's this? And he said it was his sister. So I was like, okay. Bearing in mind, I know all of this stuff. I've already got red flags. I accepted it anyway. And then when I got her, she accepted me, and her story, she was running in a field and she had this jumper on, and I could see there was wording on the back of the jumper. So I'm trying to pause this video to try and see. I'm not going to name the school, but there was a school on the back of the jumper and it said netball. So I went on the school's Instagram account, and the girl in the video was someone completely different to the girl that he's claiming to be his sister. So again, I said to him, does your sister play netball? He says no. So I was like, right, okay, next red flag. Then I asked him to send me a video of him saying, hi Georgia, because obviously he's not camera shy, he constantly sends me. Then he woke up with a sore throat, of course, because he's not real. Well, he is real, but we'll get on to that. And then I was like, do you know what? I've got enough suspicions now. So I then used Google Image Reverse. I screenshot one of his Instagram pictures, put it into Google Images, and well, Mr. So-and-so is not who he says he is. He exists, but he had blurred out the logo of the original file, and this was linked to like a model. He was a blue tick Instagram, the actual guy that he's claiming to be. So then he said to me, the meow catfish guy, he said, I haven't forgotten about your video, by the way. I've been involved in a car crash. And then I said, oh, you're probably asking AI to make it. And he said, no, I'm so against that. And then I said, hi, Josh, who he's claiming to be. And then he's sort of like, no, I'm going to look into this. I'll send you my driving license if you believe. And I was just like, no. And then he stopped replying to me. He deleted his Instagram. There's no trace of him. So I'm detective.
Case closed.
Yeah, case closed. You're not catching me out.
Open and shut.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the thing, being single, younger generation, it's very important to be careful on social media about who you're meeting and just be a bit more wary, because there are people that claim to be people you're not.
No, I know we just kind of joked. Obviously, it is a serious point, and is a story from your personal experience there as well. But yeah, it's a good lesson, isn't it? Just that social media, it's not what you think it is, and normally is far from it as well.
If a guy looks too good, then abort mission.
It's too good to be true.
Too good to be true.
Get involved. Detective Diaries is interactive, which involves you, the listener. Do you have a case you'd like discussed? A burning question about investigative life? Send an email to podcast@private-detectives.co.uk or reach out via social media. You may hear your story featured in an upcoming episode. Don't forget to leave your contact details.
So our listeners would have just heard our Get Involved clip. You can see the link below in our show notes. Our audience can submit cases, interesting stories and general ideas to discuss. So with that in mind, how can listeners get involved with Generation Next, whether it be as participants, mentors or sponsors perhaps?
I would say get involved, really. See what's out there. I'd ask them what they're doing for their next generation that they're bringing in. And I would just say to them that there's plenty of opportunity if they want to be involved. Speakers, sponsors, lend a hand, come check it out. We've got a brand spanking new website, Generation Next Surrey. You can Google it, or you can find it through the Surrey Chamber's website as well. So I would say go check it out.
Brilliant. So it's not just looking at the employers to get their staff involved. We're talking about the participants, the mentors, the sponsorships, the advocates. I mean, have you got a message for those who want to get involved for those reasons?
I think it's really easy to get involved. Obviously, if you're a young professional, you can sign up directly via the website, or as mentioned, if you are already a member of Surrey Chambers, then through your employer. And also, like you mentioned, mentorship. So if you're more experienced, then we're always looking for mentors to join the advisory board. So definitely have a look to see what we've already got on the board in terms of kind of industries. And then if you're a business, there are opportunities to support us as sponsors or advocates, as Neve just touched upon. But I think the best first step is to just reach out to the Surrey Chambers team or look on the website. Get in touch. We'd love to, all different audiences, the young professionals, the mentors, the businesses, get involved.
Brilliant.
I've also mentioned that you can reach out to us on social media as well. So we've got our Generation Next Surrey Instagram. Come check it out. With the advisory boards again, obviously you can reach out through the website. And you don't have to be a member in order to come to the events or anything. So if you want to trial it or send some of your staff or trial out yourself, you can just come along. Some of our skill workshops and things online are completely free as well. So you can test it out, come along.
And I think that's a nice thing from personal experience as well. It's not a case of some networking groups where you come along and say, right, you have to bring your referrals or whatever it may be. This is an open book to say, does this work for you? Are you enjoying it? And is it helping you? And if so, get involved.
Yeah, it's super low pressure, I would say. It's the environment we're trying to create is low pressure, fun, but then also beneficial.
So what's the next plan for the big adventure day? Am I getting blindfolded again up some high ropes, or what's going on?
You volunteered for that, Harry. I'm just saying. With a little bit of a...
We were scheming a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, from me personally, I remember my first Surrey Chambers event compared to the Young Professionals event. And while the Surrey Chambers events are phenomenal, this must have been 8-9 years ago, I think I attended. I really did see the difference between going into a room with like-minded people, having those relatable conversations, but then saying, right, where's next? Where can we build this to? And so, the motivation for me to be on that advisory board, really to give back. So I'm very much enjoying that role and looking forward to where it comes on to next. We obviously, speaking of Oakwood, we're going to just have Torva come in and chat about some of the experiences and her experiences chatting with the members who were there on the day. So hopefully we can get some insight and you'll be able to hear some more feedback about all the wonderful things we've both been doing.
That'd be great.
Hi, nice to see you again. Do you know what? The Oakwood Adventure Day was very memorable for me. I think it was probably one of the best experiences that I've done since joining my career or starting my career. I am very adventurable anyways, so I loved the sort of go ape side and the climbing and the heights, and then the laser tag I thought was extremely cool with the smoke bombs and running around. I got quite competitive, I think.
Good teamwork though, you made us do very well.
Yeah, there was a lot of I think we did quite well in the fact that there wasn't one person trying to be bossy over everyone else. We all worked quite well with each other and sort of taking it in turns, running and shooting people and then running back and everyone defending each other. And you know what, the hot chocolate we had after the rain, that was so good. But I think for me, Generation Next, the whole system in itself, I really enjoyed it, and I feel much more comfortable in those sort of networking events because everyone else is a similar age to me, and I feel like it's much easier to talk to people of a similar age because we all kind of feel the same level of experience. I don't feel like I'm talking to someone who probably thinks they know it all or isn't as interested in my career because they're too bothered with themselves or anything like that. And it's nice to talk to people who are my age, and then in future we might still be in contact because they'll probably still be in their careers where I am now. Whereas obviously if you speak to a normal networking event, they might be in their career 10 years later, but they might have retired by then. So it's nice to have those contacts that you know are probably going to stay around for quite a long time. I actually spoke to someone else who was there called Daniel, and I think we actually have a few clips of him and how he felt about the experience.
My name is Daniel.
And where are you coming from today?
So I'm a solicitor, Harrington Carmichael, based in Farnborough. So quite a way away. But,
what do you specify in?
So I specialise in commercial and property disputes. So overall, I'm a disputes resolution solicitor, and I deal with business-to-business disputes, private disputes, mostly surrounding a property and involving a property, or also business-to-business disagreements, breaches of contract, all that lovely stuff.
Cool. And how have you found today?
Yeah, really good, really engaging, very different to what I'm used to in a good way. I think a lot of the stuff that I attend networking wise tends to be kind of just standing up, introducing yourself, very forward facing. And this has been really different in a good way that, I feel like it goes a bit deeper, and you do some activities together, you build that trust early on, and it's good. You get to talk to people on a personal level, not just on a professional one.
Do you think you'll go to another Generation Next?
Yeah, hopefully. I would like to come again. Obviously, there's some hoops I need to jump through. I would love to. I think I would definitely recommend it, especially if no one, if I'm speaking to someone that hasn't been to something like this before, I'd say just try it and then let me know what you think, because it's very different, very engaging. It was good. I mean, you really cannot build a relationship any quicker than putting, all those people up in those high ropes, and someone blindfolded on top as well. That was good.
So it's really nice to hear Daniel's comments there, lots of positive feedback talking about the day and why the event works for younger people. So that was really brilliant, and thank you, Daniel, for those comments. So obviously, as private detectives being members here, obviously a bit of a niche business, you could say. Is this something that you're looking at mainstream, or is it selected groups? What you obviously talked about it being an open door, so I imagine you're looking for everyone, but are there particular industries that you're working with at the moment?
I think it's important for us to have people from such diverse industries, so like you say, private detectives to creatives, accountants to engineers. It makes the conversations richer and the network stronger, and it therefore means that members get exposure to different ways of thinking which they wouldn't necessarily get if they only mixed with their own industry. And it creates a really dynamic, well-rounded community. And I think maybe a forensics workshop on the cards. Over to you, Neve.
Oh, that is a brilliant idea.
Yeah, definitely. I'll bring the dates, you bring the body bag.
We'll get the chalk going on the floor.
Yeah.
Brilliant day. No, I love the idea. That we'll certainly talk more about that after this, I think. Neve, Georgia, thank you so much for being here. Really wonderful to talk to you all about Generation Next. I certainly think we're going to have to be looking at that forensics day, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. Sounds very interesting. We'll definitely have to put that on a podcast as well.
Absolutely, that will make a good episode. So if you're listening, look forward to that one in the near future. To our listeners, thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode of Detective Diaries.
We hope you enjoyed today's podcast, brought to you by Answers Investigation and UK Fingerprint. If you've enjoyed our conversation and want to learn more about the fascinating world of investigations, be sure to check out Private Detectives Answers Investigation. Their experienced team offers a wide range of discreet and professional services, helping you find the answers you need with integrity and expertise. If you're interested in fingerprint analysis or require specialist fingerprint services, don't miss UK Fingerprint. As one of the leading fingerprint companies in the UK, they provide everything from identification to background checks, working with individuals, businesses, financial institutions, and gambling companies. To find out more, visit www.private-detectives.co.uk, that's a minus sign, and www.ukfingerprint.co.uk. These are your go-to resources for investigative solutions and fingerprint expertise. You can call their office on 020 7158 0332.